Y'all know what time it is. It's a Brothers Got Next. We back, and yes, you're seeing us live. That's right. Me, my co-host Darian, and one of the all-time Giant greats. We got Amani Toomer joining us. Amani, what's going on? Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me, Kwab. Good to see you. Good to see you,
Yeah.
Darian. And
Yeah,
I'm very honored to be one to be your first guest when you have the video along, not just the voices. You got the video, so now you're gonna connect with all the people.
Hey, they call you well-dressed Amani Toomer, so you had to be one of the first people that we have on camera. You know what I mean?
All right, okay, I can rock with that. I can rock with that. That's cool.
Well, D man, D, we're switching it up a little bit. Now we're on camera. People will get to experience our podcast from a whole different perspective. So we're
right.
excited about that.
Yeah, it's exciting, bro. Like I was telling Amani before we started, like this is what I've been waiting for.
Right.
I kept telling we needed visuals, and we kept saying it's coming, be patient, and it's finally here, man. I'm just happy that now I think we'll get more exposure, more people out there, being on YouTube that we didn't have before. We're just having audio, so I'm very excited, very, very, very excited.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And we're gonna get things off. This is our NFL preview episode. Obviously, this is one of our most popular shows every year. We're gonna get to the nitty gritty. I got some shocking predictions. I'm batting 100 this season. I'm calling everything right on point. So y'all get
Wow.
ready. Yeah, y'all get ready for that. But cool, Amani, let's get started, man. Obviously you played football for a long time, 10 plus years, but you've got a lot of other things going on off the field, including doing a lot of things for, cycling wise. Tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about Bike HSS. It's something you heavily promote on your social media page, but tell our viewers a little bit more about that.
Well, Hospital for Special Surgery is where I got both of my knees put back together, and they're a big sponsor of the Giants. I do some stuff with the Giants still now, and so when I was approached to be their Bike HSS ambassador, I really just jumped at the opportunity, another opportunity for me to ride, which is something I have a passion for, and also helping out the place that basically got me back and gave me an opportunity to have a career when I blew up my knee my rookie year and not back in 1996. So it's just one of those things where I wanted to give back to them and selfishly get a chance to get another opportunity to get out there on the bike and get some exercise.
So it seems like the physicians and staff and the local communities involved. So just talk about I know you're passionate about the biking, but just touch on a little bit about how Bike HSS, like what their goal is for funding, and what are they really looking for research wise.
Well, I mean, they're cutting edge. Like Dr. Russ Warren is the guy who did my surgery, and he kind of invented the way that they do the ACL surgeries now, where they take a third of the kneecap and they thread it through and make it the new ACL instead of, and then they keep your legs mobile right after the surgery, which before they put you in a cast for months, and then as all that scar tissue comes in, it doesn't. You sometimes people never come back from it because there's just too much scar tissue and getting the joint moving again. And I think they were one of the first hospital to kind of take the mobility and get it back really quickly. And I did it on a bike. My first day after the surgery, I was on the bike spinning the thing,
Oh, wow.
hearing all the scar tissue popping in my knee as I'm trying to rotate the crank around one rotation, and it's just they're cutting edge, and I want to keep. They're really into trying to keep people moving and help with all these different uh, the different ailments that stop athletes or weekend warriors from doing their thing, and they really want to keep people healthy and keep people active. More importantly, and that's kind of what I'm all about, and that's one of the things that after I got done playing, I really got into cycling because I really couldn't do much else. I tried to run marathons, and my knees and back and I have arthritis everywhere. But when I get on the bike, I can still compete with anybody. So that's one of the reasons why I love biking.
No, that's cool. And as a person that's tore his ACL before, it's really cool to hear about that and how people are recovering and how they're not, you don't need to be in a cast like you said. It's pretty amazing that you were cycling the next day though. See, like that's what NFL athletes. You're a former NFL athlete. Like a regular cat ain't doing all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
so I
it
mean,
hurt, man.
you're doing 10,000, 25 miles. I'm like, I could probably barely do a mile
Wow.
on a bike. You know
You
what I
could
mean?
do
Like,
so much more than you think. I mean, a mile on the
yeah,
bike is like it's like running 100 meters. Like you get
oh,
going and
right,
it's just
right.
like to run like 10 miles to me would be like riding 30 miles. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where the numbers of miles get people all screwed up, but really it's you can move like 20 miles an hour. If you're on flat ground. So just
Mhm.
imagine how far you can go. You know, what I mean, that's 20 miles in an hour. Most people can go. Average cyclists could go like 14, 13, 14 miles an hour. So you can
Wow.
get moving pretty well and not really putting up too much effort. So cycling is a great way to explore your city, explore your
Yeah.
town. You know, it cuts down on emission and it's just fun. Really good for your mental aspect. You know,
Yeah.
you're getting out
Yeah.
there. You can't do anything else in cycling. You got to be thinking about the road, thinking about what you're doing, and
Right.
it's one
Right.
of those escapes that everybody really needs to get away from. You know, off these your phones, off of all these different social media things. Get out there and just be by yourself and let you be caught up in your own thoughts.
D, you need to get on this, man. We're in our 40s now.
Yeah, I mean, the wife is always getting on me. I bought a new house about 2 years ago, and we in the garage is a bike rack. So she's always like, "You should get a bike," and we need to
Yeah,
go
great.
biking and do like a couple thing. And yeah, I have a lot of friends of mine who do a lot of stuff. I live in the Maryland, DC, DMV area, so there's a
Yeah,
lot of DC kind of ride things. They ride all over DC,
yeah,
and for charity for good causes. So
yeah,
yeah, I need to get on that. And it's funny because I told my wife, I said I'm gonna go and get a bike this summer. Of course, I didn't, but the goal,
yeah.
one of my new resolutions, is going to be to buy a bike, next year and definitely, take up cycling and yeah, just to get active, like you said, movement. I think that's so important, just to keep it
Yeah.
moving. You know what I mean? To have
D,
movement.
we're gonna do it together. I'm gonna get a bike too. We'll go bike shopping together.
All right, so I'll ride out to
I,
Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
I'll ride down there with you guys. I'll go
Hey,
anywhere to get to promote cycling. I love it. I absolutely
that'll
love
be
it. You get a
awesome.
road
That'll be
bike, gravel
awesome.
bike, any kind of bike. It's just
Yeah, I don't know
and
about
I
gravel.
ride it all.
Gravel to be on them rocks. I don't know if I can cycle. I need flat surface.
Flat
Yeah,
surface, but the problem is like when you get flat surface, you got to share the road with cars. Gravel, you got it all to yourself. Mountain bike, you got it all to yourself, and you're out there in the woods. You're out with nature. You learn different skills. Like there's different things to different types of cycling, but road biking is fun as well. I mean, I love road biking
Yeah.
as well. So
have
just gotta be
you
careful.
done the uphill, like the mountains? Have you done that?
Yeah, I just finished a mountain bike. I finished the ride I did last year.
Okay.
It was Leadville, Colorado. They have a race
Yeah,
across
that's
the
right. That
sky.
was a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 100 miles with on a mountain bike, which is not as fast as a road bike or a gravel bike, and it was at 10,000 feet of elevation, and it went up to 12.5. So it took me 3 hours, 13 hours, excuse me, to do it. But I didn't get time cut this year, and I'm like one of the heaviest guys out there. But it was just so much fun. You see the views, you're up there past the tree line to where all the trees can't grow because you're too high up in the air,
Yeah, you up
and all
there.
kinds of rocks. It was so much fun. I loved it. I loved it. And I'm doing it. I'm gonna try to do it again next year if my wife will let me go.
No
So
Hey,
doubt.
that's the life. That's life now when you're married, right? Like if the wife will let you do it.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. I
I've
mean, you
learned that
always got
over
to
the
be
last
pushing the
year. I
envelope,
love
but
it.
it's a if though, not a
No, for
definite.
sure.
You know.
But
Yeah.
cool, yo, Monty, let's get into it, man. This is that time of the year. People are hyped. The first game is in a few days. We're,
hmm
we're recording this episode on September 3rd. We got a game
hmm
just a few days away. The Ravens at
Yeah.
the Chiefs, so it's gonna be popping. That's a great way to start off the year. So let's get into our NFL predictions, man. We're gonna breeze through this. Darian, I'm very curious where Darian's going with some of these picks. We haven't revealed each other's picks to each other, so
Okay. Okay.
I'm excited to go with this. So let's just start it off with division winners. I'm going to start in the AFC North. and then I'll navigate this whole thing. I'll let you guys know what direction we're going. But let's start in the North, Darian. Who you got winning the AFC North and why?
I got the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I didn't tell him to say, look at him, Monty.
I got the Steelers. Here's the thing with the Steelers. They made all the right moves in the offseason. They're in a win-win situation at quarterback where if Russell Wilson doesn't work out, you have Justin Fields. It's low risk, high reward. They picked up, Patrick McQueen, right? The linebacker. Patrick Queen, the linebacker. I know they have offensive line issues, but they have Najee still. I love Pickens, TJ Watt in that defense. You still got Minka back there. I just think this is the year, obviously they didn't have a quarterback the last 2 years with Pickens. Russell Wilson, people think he played so bad last year. I think 26 touchdowns, 10 picks, something around there. So he wasn't terrible last year.
26 and 8. He was statistically, he was pretty good.
Yeah, so I'm like, why can't he do that again this year with a better defense and a better coach? So I know everybody's like, well, what about the Ravens? What about the Bengals? I just think Russell Wilson gets that mojo back. I think we're going to see Chef.
So cook it up.
We're going to see Russell Cook this year. And, the defense is always solid. And like I said, I'm a big Tomlin guy. I think Tomlin, is arguably maybe the best coach in the NFL. So, man, I'm rocking with the Steelers for the AFC North.
Ooh, Amani. I mean, I got to hear your thoughts on that. Amani was shaking his head as soon as you said that.
Yeah, I just feel like, in any other division, I would agree with you. I definitely like Tomlin, but that quarterback situation, it never works out well because you start to get the division in the locker room. You got, this group of people on the side that likes Russell Wilson. You got this group on the other side that likes Justin Fields. That is not a good situation. I know Mike Tomlin can coach his butt off and he can coach his way through it. But when the rubber meets the road, I just feel like it's going to come down to just a couple games, a couple plays. And how could you go against Lamar, especially when he gets Henry? To me, that is the juggernaut that nobody's talking about. You have the best running back in the league against the quarterback who can run the ball the best. And then now he's also developed a little bit of a passing game, not a little bit, a legitimate passing game.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's so much opportunity there where Lamar's not going to have to be the guy that's going to have to make all these ridiculous plays anymore because he has Henry in the backfield that can really allow him to just be normal and not have to be a Superman for his team to win. So I just feel, and then when you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, there's something about them that I just cannot get behind. I can't put my finger on it. I love Joe Burrow. I love, their receiving core that they have there, but when it comes to winning, I just feel like they're not the team. They're going to win a lot of games, but I think they're going to lose a lot of games that they need at the very end in crunch time. Because I think ultimately coaching, I think the Ravens have a better coaching staff. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have the better coaching staff. And don't forget about the Cleveland Browns.
What about the Browns? Absolutely.
I mean, I really like Watkins as a quarterback. I know he's had problems. He hasn't been playing well over the last couple of years. But, man, when he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league, before, when he was down in Houston and all of a sudden he can't play anymore, I don't believe it. I feel like he's going to come back strong as well. So I think this is going to be one of the most competitive divisions, but I'm still going to give it to Superman and Batman, whichever one you want. And that's Henry and Lamar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just real quick, touch on if you're a receiver, and I always find it interesting when, the receivers obviously hold out and, they want bigger deals. Just real quick, just touch on the Jamar Chase situation. Is he kind of doing the right thing by doing the sit-in, or should he just play it out and, obviously hit the free agent market in 2 years and get paid?
No, I think you should try and get paid whenever you can. Don't wait around.
Right.
Even Lamar, he got paid, but he wasted 2 years. He's never going to make that money up that he lost over those 2 years. He did get the money now, but I just feel like you got to get paid when you're hot. You know what I mean? You can't sit around and wait and hope teams are going to do right by you. It never happens that way. And I
Right.
wish I would have been more like in my career, taking advantage of situations instead of just sitting back and being like, "Oh, I'm fine. No, you got to get whatever you can because you better believe that those teams, if they can find somebody cheaper, if they can find somebody that's that they don't have to pay as much, they're going to do it. They don't care about your personality, they don't care about anything. They just want to
Yeah.
get their books correct. And you got to be that businessman. I don't like sitting in though, because I understand the modern way that you have to actually go to camp or you get fined up to $2 million. I get that. That can't be forgiven. I get that. But it's just such a bad look when you're just standing there. And the only reason why you're not practicing is because you know that
Right.
the contract isn't right, which the locker room should never have the business spill over in the locker room. I think that becomes a really awkward situation because you're trying to create this team atmosphere, and somebody up the bean counters up in the front office are slowing your team down, missing all these practices, and then you go around like, well, if they don't think it's right for Jamar to be here, why am I here? I mean, I could just
Mm.
chill out too. And that's
Mm.
something that it's because of the new CBA and all that stuff, but it just seems very awkward to me. And I think it'd be very strange if I was in one of these locker rooms right now.
Mm.
Interesting. And Darren, I'm glad you had mentioned that because that's a big thing going into week one. The Bengals play the Patriots in week one, and a lot
Right.
of people are wondering if Jamar is going to be on the field. Now, I think they're going to be able to beat the Patriots either way. I don't think the Patriots are going to
Yeah,
be very good this year, but
yeah,
yeah, that's interesting. My whole thing is you definitely want to get paid before you step on the field because if Jamar Chase blows out his knee week one, I mean that's on him.
yeah.
So yeah, but I'm
I
gonna
play
I'm
with
gonna
guy.
follow up on the yeah. No, I
So I
agree. I
play with
agree.
guy
And
Steve. I play with guy Steve Smith who had a great year, and he ended up.
all
They
right.
offered him a contract. He turned it down. The next game, he went in and hurt his knee versus the Rams. Never got his big contract. So I don't mess around with that stuff.
That's right. There
You
was a
know,
Steve Smith for the Giants. I remember him.
yeah,
That's right. That's
Right.
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, but I'm
yeah.
gonna
Great
follow up.
player from USC.
I'm Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Amani too. I'm gonna go Baltimore here. My whole thing is the Ravens win 70 something percent of their games when Lamar's on the field. Lamar stays
Uh,
healthy. They're going to be able to run the ball at will. Their O line's not the same as it was in past years, so that could be a bit of a weakness. But I think bringing in Derrick Henry there, they'll be able to move the ball. They're going to be able to hit those big plays downfield to Zay. Still got Mark Andrews. Defense might take a bit of a step back, but when Lamar plays, they win. So I'm gonna go with them to win the North. Let's go over to the AFC South. Darian, who you got winning that?
I got the Texans. I mean, just look at the trend from last year. I mean,
Mm,
CJ Stroud, what he did last year was amazing as a rookie quarterback. I'm not going to get something like all the stuff on Diggs on top of that. When the offense is already kind of rolling with Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and then you add stuff on Diggs. I mean, come on. I don't
yeah,
think this is really a hard one for all of us to kind of say. I mean, they have probably the most, not just the most talented team in that division, but they have one of the most talented teams in the league. So I
yeah.
love D'Amico Ryans as a coach, as a young coach. Yeah, I think this is an easy one. I like the Texans to win it.
Amani.
uh, for some reason, the Texans just seem. I was on the youngest team in the league one year, and we went to the playoffs, and the next year we just didn't have the same fire. You know, I
Why
mean,
is
it's
that?
very.
Yeah,
It was in '97.
like why is
We
that? What happens to that second year?
it,
What?
it's just it's very easy to climb the mountain. It's very hard for young players to stay focused and
Mm,
have that same amount of uh, of energy that it takes to repeat. Repeating is very, very hard. Even the Bengals,
mhm.
they won the Super Bowl, and the next year they
They
struggled.
got to the Super
Uh,
Bowl. Yeah, yeah. When
and,
they got there, they
and
lost to the Rams. Yep.
yeah, after they
Mm,
lost to the Rams, they just kind of didn't have the same type of year the next year,
yeah.
and um, so I never one thing that I always look at in the league is I don't care about what you did last year, and I don't know if Stephon Diggs is a good thing because of the attitude. You
Mm,
got young
mhm.
players, and you're gonna get a guy who is I don't know Stephon Diggs. I just hear what I read about how and what I saw when he was yelling at Allen on the sideline because he didn't get the ball. You should have got the ball, no question about that. That's probably one of the reasons why they lost that playoff game. But you can't act that way in public and then show up your quarterback like that. And what's CJ Stroud going to do? Like it's going to put a lot of his leadership style is going to be tested because he can't just say, "Hey, Tank, you know we're all young here, we're all together." This is a guy who's been there, done that, and he's like, "I want," and Stephon might be like, "I want it done this way." And then you got CJ
Mm,
saying, it's just there's a whole dynamic that
Mm.
it's a high risk reward. And I'm not saying they're not going to do well this year, but for them to win that division when you got the Colts, you got Jacksonville,
yeah.
um, you
Jacksonville's
got
been
Penn.
there, done that before too. Jacksonville's not that far removed from the
Yes.
playoffs.
And
Right.
Yeah.
Jacksonville kind of had their year where they were really good, and then all of a
Yep.
sudden they fell apart. Now they're going to put back the pieces. I feel like Jacksonville to me might be that team because you got a quarterback that's under fire,
Mm-hmm.
and you got a head coach that's won before with the Eagles, and
Darian's
now
boy.
he's
Yep.
and so I feel like they're kind of the team in my eyes that might be a little bit under the radar, which is what you want to be under the radar, and kind of punching up instead of trying to stay on top of the mountain and just and hold your whole court like
I
the
actually like that.
like the
Yeah.
Texans.
I actually like that pick a lot. I'm actually also going Jacksonville. I
Mhm.
think, like once again, they're only a year removed from their playoff appearance. Even last year, at one point, I believe they were like 8-4, 8-3, leading
Yeah,
the division. Then
they fell
unfortunately,
apart. Yeah,
yeah, they just didn't play that well down the stretch. But Darian, you're a guy that has always appreciated Doug Peterson, so you wouldn't be shocked if they made the playoffs. And they won the division not that long ago. I understand what the Texans are the hot team, and but I think a lot of the time when you're like Amani said, when you're a really young squad, the expectations are so high, and you're not catching anybody off guard this season. I remember when I saw the Texans on the Steelers schedule last year, I'm like, oh, that's a win. That's easy.
yeah,
But
yeah,
then,
yeah.
damn, whoa, they surprise you. So you play them this year, you're not going into Houston saying like, oh man, we got this. You're like, yo, this team is pretty good. So I still like them as a playoff team, and we're going to get to our wild card predictions in a little bit. But I'm going to pick Jacksonville to win the division. I think they were humbled a bit last year. I think they'll come back, and I think they'll do. That's a tight division, though. I think 10
Yeah.
wins gets that one done. So I'm gonna go with the Jags there as well. Let's move over to the AFC East. This is interesting. I don't know where you guys are going because I think mine's gonna be a little surprising. But Amani, let's switch it up a little bit. Let's start with you. Who do you have winning the AFC East?
I got the fish. I think the Dolphins are going to win.
Okay,
Tua got his
okay.
contract. You got you got Tariq Hill, the number one player in the league. They're going to get him the ball even
Yeah,
more. They got
yeah.
that speedy running back there. I mean, I think that
We got
offense
two good
is
running backs.
electric.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. With Morris and I think the young guy
Mostert and A
Foster,
Chain. A Chain,
Achan.
I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
Yeah,
You got to
both
keep
guys are
him
nice.
healthy. You got to keep him
That's the
healthy. But
thing.
yeah,
They got to be healthy. Yeah.
yeah, and then they got Chubb on defense. I mean, they got a lot. I like what they have.
Still got
Just
Jalen
team
Ramsey.
wise. Yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
team wise, they're solid. Um, and then I don't believe in the Jets. I don't believe in. I think Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, we're gonna talk about the Jets, baby.
I'm not. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers guy.
No,
I
you're
don't know
not
if
an
I would
Aaron
wish.
Rodgers guy. Is it because you just don't believe in his skill set anymore? Is it his personality? What do you mean by that?
Um, he's 40, like, and he's coming off a Achilles tendon at 40. And he kind
Mm-hmm.
of had this weirdish surgery, and
Yeah, it's
he
always
didn't.
something weird with that guy. It's never just a straightforward. It's always something controversial, or I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's
It's like
he's
things to just like reset.
He's a
Like,
different cat for sure.
he's going to retreats where he goes into like dark rooms for like 3 days. I'm like, why?
And
Like,
he always tries to
yeah,
find a way to avoid he definitely doesn't do he doesn't usually do those. I know they're not mandatory, but the mini camps during the off season, he definitely tries to find shortcuts a little bit. Now, Brett Favre was also guilty of that at times, not wanting to be
yeah,
participate much in training camp. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I just and then the Jets will find a way to they'll find a way to mess something up. Just they've been.
the same old Jets.
I mean I look. They just find a way to kind of give away the ghost every year, and
Yeah.
I'm not a really big fan. I mean, I don't know about Saleh. I mean, there's a difference between a
Mm-hmm.
defensive coordinator and a head coach. you can't rah-rah as a head coach. It just doesn't work. You gotta come with some calmness. You gotta come with some focus, and you gotta get people all on the same level. These cheerleader coaches never work. And I'm not saying he's a cheerleader, but like when he's at his most successful, when he was with the Niners, and that defense was really humming, he was one of these guys that you were just like, man, that's a great defensive coordinator. I just don't know how that. I don't know if that really translates over that well, especially in New York City. Like they're not buying that. They're not buying
Yeah.
all their rah rah stuff. And I think he's a good dude, but I just don't know if he has the mentality to deal with New York. He just keeps on giving up way too much information at these press conferences, and he's trying to be the nice guy. And they don't, they don't care. They just want to.
They just
It's
want
a
to
win or
win.
lose situation.
Want to win.
They don't care about your
Like if
personality.
they start the season 0-4, they don't like Rodgers. Like, yeah, this guy, get this guy out of here. So,
Yeah. So I
um,
just, they don't care about this stuff. They just want to win. And all this other stuff that's going on, I just feel like it's a waste. It's a distraction.
what about you, Darian? Who you got?
So yeah, obviously, I really like the Jets in this division. I know Aaron Rodgers is 40, but I feel like they have everywhere else. They have the pieces in place. They have the receiver. They have a good running back. I love Sauce in the secondary. They have a good defense. I agree with Amani. I don't know about Salah yet. But this is it.
Yeah, if they don't win this year, he's out.
This is it. Obviously, this is the last chance. If they don't win it this year, whether Aaron is healthy or not, he's gone. But I think if Aaron is healthy, yeah, I like the Jets. The Finns to me, Amani's pick when it comes to the Finns, I don't trust them down the stretch because the last
Mm,
couple of years they always collapse
And when it gets
down,
cold,
down the
yeah.
stretch. And when it gets cold, I don't trust them. So I do like the coach. I think I love the coach they have. Obviously, Tyreek Hill is the best player in the league. Two guys deal. I like all the players they have, but I don't trust them when it comes down the stretch. And I just think the Jets, again, if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, I think this division, 10 wins is probably going to be enough to get out. And they're going to kind of beat up on each other, with the exception of the Patriots, but them, the Finns, the Bills, they're all going to kind of beat up on each other. So
Yeah.
I just think when it's all said and done, I think the Jets a slight edge as far as their roster, and I think Aaron Rodgers still has a lot to prove. He wants to come back and be like, "Hey, look, I can still play at 40. You know what I mean? I can still do this when I'm healthy." So, yeah, I like the Jets, man.
Yeah, and I agree. I also like the Jets to win the division. Screw it. They ain't won the division, and they have the longest playoff drought in the NFL. I'm just gonna roll with it. I think
they're gonna win one day. They're gonna win someday. It's gotta happen.
Hey, look, but people say that about the Lions forever. Lions suck forever. Now, the Lions, eventually they're going to turn around. I just think the Jets win 11 games this year. I think they'll find a way.
Yeah.
Defense is top notch. I think we can all agree with the defense, top notch.
Yeah.
You throw Rodgers in the mix. I really like this Garrett Wilson kid. Brees Hall, I think, is going to have a good year. Like you said, D, all about health. And the O-line just needs to be solid. Have a solid year. And we're good because if they're
I think they invested in the offseason. They found some people they drafted. So I think they'll be fine there. Like I said, as long as Rodgers stays healthy, they got a chance.
They should be all right. I'm gonna put my trust in the Jets. If they don't do it now, I'm done with them. I'm not dealing.
He's gone.
He's gone. Get him out of here.
What's very interesting? None of us picked the Buffalo Bills. The pick that was the hot, sexy pick, Super Bowl pick for the last 3-4 years. Nobody's talked about them.
You can take a step back. I think it's high on Days, and everything you said is right.
No, I love his play, but there's more to being a player than just catching balls.
You think he's going to be big because I don't know who.
They also lost Gabe Davis. Didn't they also lose Gabe Davis?
Gabe Davis. So they got like Khalil Shakur. Austin Kincaid, their tight end, supposed to be really involved too. So it's definitely some question marks. But I mean, and
guys on defense too. There's some guys on defense.
Matt Milano, his linebackers are hurt again, so he's going to miss a little bit of time more than likely. Yeah. So they got some questions. But man, Josh Allen, I mean, he puts the team on his back on a weekly basis. The guy had 50 touchdowns last year, so maybe we are sleeping on them a little bit. Maybe this is what they need, though, Amani. They need the year where nobody's really paying attention to them, and then they come out of nowhere. So, but until then, I'm going green, baby. Let's go Jets. And then last but not least, or maybe least, because this shouldn't last long, who y'all got winning the West? I'm Darian. I'll start with you.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro. You know, I know you have Tyreek Hill as the best NFL player, but this is certainly the best quarterback in the league, hands down. There's no argument. They're going for a historic run here. They're trying to make history. So they're going for a three-peat, which has never been done in NFL history. So I'm never going to get this Patrick. I think last year, remember, Kwab, we had this previous show. I'm like, oh, you know, Kelsey's getting old. They ain't really got no receivers. I'm not down that dude anymore. I'm not going against Patrick Mahomes. And then you just gave him Xavier Worthy, the fastest guy coming out the draft. Please. It's no question. They're winning. They'll win this. They can win 12, 13 games.
People saying they'll wrap up the division by like week 10. It'll be over.
Yeah.
That to me, all that to me is red flags. Red flags just popping off. Red flags.
I knew Amani was going to find something.
Because there's a lot of people that can fight their way up. In the football player mentalities, you can fight your way up. There's not a lot of people that can stay on top. 2 years in a row. This last season, you know, it really, like, I'm not going to take anything away from the Kansas City Chiefs, but this was probably their most vulnerable season.
Yeah,
I think it's just going to get more vulnerable.
They didn't look that good.
They lost
a lot of the year.
They lost Snead, their corner.
They did.
And what you're sleeping on is you're sleeping on one of the most talented teams in the division, and that's the LA Chargers. They get a new coach.
Damn.
They get a new
Who are the receivers? Who's the running back? Who tried to throw the ball to?
Who's their quarterback?
Yeah,
that to me took a step back, but but they're not going to do that.
No, I get that. He was fighting that four for running back. You let him go, but then putting a dress on replacing him, like,
well, they drafted that first round receiver last year out of TCU, and I guess they really believe in him. Harbaugh is a quarterback whisperer, so he's going to get the most out of Herbert. Herbert's going to. I'm looking for Herbert to have his best season. You know, they still have the kid from Heath, the tight end from the Patriots.
Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst, yeah.
I called him they got him.
They still got Hayden Hurst, and I feel like, you know, that team has underperformed for so long. They've been the most talented team in that division for a long time that underperforms because they had the worst coach I've ever can remember.
I tell Darren all the time. Terrible.
He is the worst coach I've ever heard. Now they got a decent coach, and I think you're going to start to see them. He's the worst.
He was awful.
He lost them games. Losing games despite they were losing games because of their head coach. How does that happen? And he kept his job for a couple of years. It was unbelievable.
Right.
Well, you taking them to win? You taking them to win the division?
I think so. Yeah, I think they're going to win the division. I just, you know, there's got to be some surprises. You can't just do chalk
every year, for sure.
You can't just do chalk, right? So I'm just going to throw it out there. You know, if I hit, I'll be a genius. If I don't,
we're going to play this back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna I mean,
the Raiders though.
What's up?
No, the Raiders don't got a quarterback. Yeah.
They got Garn. I mean, Gardner Minshew's a good backup. He's like terrible, but yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Chiefs.
You're not gonna be Mahomes with Gardner Minshew. He's just not.
No, I do think y'all might call me crazy. I actually think the Broncos might be better than people think. Like, they may finish like second in that division. I kind of think this Bo Nix kid has something. I think so.
I love Sean Payton.
Sean Payton's a good coach. I just don't think he handled that Russ situation well. But I mean, he's done enough in this league to prove that he can coach. So I'm not saying they'll be a playoff team. I think they'll surprise. I only like the Chiefs out of that division. So
gotcha.
All right, let's move over to the NFC. We'll start in the NFC North. Very interesting here. Obviously, the Lions won the division last year for the first time in a really long time. A lot of people are hyping up the Bears. People are hyping up the Packers. Darian, who you got, man? I'm very curious where you're going with this one. Who's winning the
Yeah,
division?
I'm still rolling with the Lions. Hopefully you get some more predictions, later. But
Oh, are you previewing the fact that you think the Lions are going to the bowl this
Oh, he's
year?
teasing us.
They
The
going
tease?
to the games? The Lions.
I think, you know what I mean? Jared Goff, we tried the most innovative quarterback last year. Nobody talked about what he did last year. And I get it's the Lions, Detroit, you don't trust them. But first of all, they went to the NFC Championship game. They lost to the Niners, who were the best team all year in the NFC. That's nothing to be ashamed of. I love the coach Dan Campbell. They didn't really lose anything. They still they signed Brown, you know what I mean, the best receiver to an extension. They still
Yeah.
have Jahmyr Gibbs, who I loved last year as a rookie. I think he's only gonna get better. Goff is like, the thing's solid. He played steady.
Yeah, Goff is good.
We didn't get it from him. Yeah, man, I like the Lions, bro. I think they win the division again. I think they go back to back.
Amani, what do you think?
I got the Pack. I do. Look, I love Dan Campbell. He was a rookie my third year. Great dude. Unbelievable dude. But it's hard to go back to back in this league, especially when now the Lions, just like you said with the Houston Texans. Everybody used to say Lions, oh, that's a win. Now, we got the Lions. It's different. They're going to get a different sense of respect from every league, every team in the league. And also, they went deep in the playoffs, so they showed their entire hand to everybody. So now, when you're looking at the Lions, you can go off of what they really want to do because you're seeing them in a very, very high intense situation. So they're kind of exposed a little more the deeper you go in the playoffs. So I think Dan Campbell's a phenomenal coach, but man, I just really believe in Jordan Love. I really think he's a really good quarterback, and they have like a winning. They got something winning. That winning mojo up there in Green Bay. I do not believe in the Bears, and I just feel like Green Bay to me is the safe, solid pick to win that division. I just feel like that's the one right there. It is Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. A lot of people are big on the Packers this year for obvious reasons. They had a nice playoff run last year. I'm going to go with the Lions too, though. I think last year they had hype. Remember, a lot of people expected them to be good last year. So they lived up to that hype, and I think they're just going to continue that trend. Jared Goff is a vet; he's been there, done that. He's played in the Super Bowl. He's played in huge playoff games throughout his career. I think they're going to continue that trend. They have playmakers everywhere. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think we can probably say he's one of the most underrated receivers in the league. Jamison Williams is going to be heavily involved. I like
back
Sam,
for a year.
Sam Laporta, their tight end. They got Jamar Gibbs. They got a lot of weapons. So I think they're going to be one of the better teams in the NFC. So I'm curious. I'm very excited to see what they do. Let's go to the NFC South, where I don't think a lot of people are too high on this division, but hey, we've seen crazier things in the NFL before. Monty, who you like winning the South?
Oh man,
Tampa, Atlanta, the Panthers, the Saints. Who you got? It's a tough one.
you know what? I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the Saints for some reason. I just feel like I think at the end of the year, everybody's gonna be talking about um, the quarterback that they got from South Carolina, Spencer Rattler. Yeah. I'm a big Spencer Rattler fan. I like the fact that he's been through some things at Oklahoma.
Yeah, sure.
Caleb Williams came in, took his job. He didn't pout. He just decided, okay, I'm good. I'm just going to go somewhere else and picked up his career. Hey, it wasn't pretty all the time, but I feel like those are the types of situations that young quarterbacks need to have some rocky road so that when they get in the NFL and they go through a rocky road, they're like, oh, I've been through this. I know how to get through this. Because those quarterbacks that have had success their entire career and never experience everything, to me, that's what I worry about. And so I don't know. I just feel like the Saints are a team that nobody's talking about. Everybody's really hyped on the Atlanta Falcons, with all what they got going on down there with Kirk Cousins and all that stuff. But whenever there's a quarterback controversy like that, They bring in they bring
Michael
in
Penix.
the Michael Penix
Hmm.
from University of Washington, and they got a crowded quarterback room and a lot of money going in that quarterback room. So I know they have talent everywhere, but the dynamics of that team and the structure of that team doesn't seem right to me.
And that's so interesting. You say with when you have two quarter, it's like Bill Parcells back in the day said, when if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. So,
Yeah,
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 that's interesting because I don't think they gave Cousins his money, but then Penix started to make some headlines in the preseason. So, be curious. I don't see them like benching Kirk Cousins, but there is a lot of hype in Atlanta. So, Darian, I'm curious where you're going with this.
I mean, it's funny. I know Monty's kind of going against it. Yeah, I'm going with Atlanta to win it, just
Mm,
off of all the talent they have. You have
yeah,
you have Kyle Pitts, you have Drake, on the
yeah, Drake
outside.
London. Yep.
Yeah, and then
Drake.
you have, I think that was just saying, be solid quarterback when healthy. You know what I mean? Now, I do think, going back to your thing, Bobby, that it's interesting because I think he's going to have a shorter leash. Like,
Mm,
honestly,
Yeah,
things don't go right. If they like 500 or less, they're probably going to get Penix because he's the future. You know what I mean? And it's a cheaper route anyway because you're not going to have to pay him for like 3 years. So, yeah, I think Cousins on a short leash. I think he knows that.
yeah.
He's older. He's a vet. He knows how this works. He's been in the league for a while. So, but I just think they have so much talent. We look at the wide receiver, the tight end, the running back, and like I said, the QB is solid. So, and I think with Raheem Morris, they'll be definitely improved on defense. Atlanta's
Yeah.
never been great defensively, but I
No.
think with Raheem Morris being there, the defensive minded guy, they're going to be improved. Oh, and then they got Matthew Judon from
Judon. Yep. Shout out to Judon.
Patriots. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just think that's so much talent, and for them to not win this division, I would be shocked if they lost. Unless just Cousins is not the same, after being injured. But I think Michael
Kill.
Penix is going to pick it right back up and kind of give them a spark where they'll still end up winning the division.
Yeah, I'm very curious how it's going to work. I don't know the statistics top of my head, but like when a new quarterback matches up with a new coach, first year on the same team together, like I don't know how that usually works. But I do also like Atlanta just based off of I don't think this is a very strong division. Maybe we're all sleeping on Tampa. Tampa won the division last year. They still have a coach that people have their thoughts on Todd Bowles, but he's also been there, done that. That
Mm.
team got to the divisional round last year, so maybe I'm sleeping on Tampa a little bit. Baker had a resurgence, but I'm gonna go with Atlanta too. I'm not super confident about it, but they just got playmakers everywhere. Freaking Kyle Pitts, you
Right.
know, Bijan Robinson. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's go over to the NFC East, where oh boy, I don't know. We'll see where we go with this one. Amani,
Hold your nose.
hold on. Let's hold on here. So, Amani, obviously, you're very familiar with this division. I'm very,
Yeah.
very, very excited to hear where you're going to go with this. Who's winning the NFC East?
It's going to be the Eagles. Man,
Mm,
they just have an abundance of riches, and they just keep getting better and better. They picked up somebody recently. It's slipping my mind, but it's just one of those things where they just keep on getting better. Um, I, I mean, they have the best. I mean, they have the best roster in the division,
Mhm.
in my opinion. Um, in terms of depth. They lose Kelsey to retirement, and they already have somebody to replace
yeah,
him already.
right up.
So I just think that Howie Roseman has done a great job in
Mhm.
stocking that team and keeping that team stocked with talent. Oh, they just picked up the receiver from first round receiver from the red from
Oh,
not the
Austin.
Redskins.
Austin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Austin. Yeah, from the Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, and that gives them. I mean, they got Saquon, they got AJ Brown, they
They got
got
they
Devonta
got
Smith, and I
yeah.
mean, you can't. And then their offensive line is top notch as well. I just it pains me, and I feel like I need to wash out my mouth after I just said what I said. But I feel like the Eagles are the most talented team in the division, and
Mm,
they don't have any. They don't have any big controversies with players holding out and all this stuff.
yeah,
They
they've been
just
pretty
get it
quiet.
right. They just
Been
get it
pretty quiet.
right. And I would go with Dallas, but I just feel like, they got rid of Teron Smith. they messed around with CD Lamb for all this time. I just Yeah, and then they got Dak, and then I don't know. There's just so much controversy there that they can't really focus on the. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like like from the outside looking in, I just feel like they kind of seem like a distracted team, and I don't really believe in their head coach as well.
Mm.
So yeah, I think they got issues down in
Okay, what
Dallas.
about you, D?
I'm with the mind. I'm rolling with the Eagles. I mean, the most talented team, maybe one of the most talented teams in the league, not just in that division. I mean, you have
Yeah.
two great receivers. They have a great tight end. He said they picked up Saquon. I mean, defensive. Now the question marks with them are going to be defensively. Obviously, they were
Hmm.
horrible defensively last year. So
Bradbury's
Hmm.
going to be out for a while too.
right,
Hmm.
they got the new defensive coordinator Vic Figiano, right?
Fangio, yep, Vic
Defensive
Fangio.
Fangio.
coordinator. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did he correct all that? I mean, he's had a track record of success of fixing defenses. So hopefully he can fix that because they were horrible last year. He
Yeah,
can do whatever he wants in a run, pass. It didn't matter. So that's the only question mark they have is on defense. But offensively, from the quarterback from top to bottom, I mean, yeah, like Amani said, they're one of the best rosters in the league offensively.
Yeah.
So they should be able to put up a lot of points. It's just that will they get into shootouts or will they put up points and the defense can actually do their job and hold people? So that's the only question mark. But I still like them to win the division.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I'm just going based off the simple fact that only the Chiefs have won more games over the last 3 years. Regardless of what they've been through this offseason, there's always noise in Dallas in the offseason. Every year, there's
Hmm.
something. There's
Yeah.
always something. There's always something. I just look at it like this. Their roster hasn't changed much. I still like Dak. I like CD. Their running game leaves me a little concerned. I don't really know what they're going to look like there. They just have so many playmakers, especially on defense. I mean, they arguably have the best pass rusher with Parsons. You have Diggs, who's going to be healthy. I know Deron Bland got hurt, but
I
he's
mean, he's
still
playing first 6 to 8 weeks, so he's probably going to be back to
maybe like week 4, week 3, or something like that.
longer than that. They're
Mhm.
saying probably
What do you have?
he and I want to say something. I don't know if he broke his foot or something it's something like
Oh,
yeah. So it's like 6 to 8 weeks, but they're saying what I'm hearing is like week 6, week 8, he's going to come back.
Okay, so he has
a corner with a broken foot.
not a
That
good
ain't
look.
good. That's not good.
Yeah. It says as of right now he'll miss at least 4 games. Looks like he may be able to come back for the Steelers game
Okay.
around week 6.
Week 6.
Okay.
They're saying week 6 to week 8 he'll be back, but I mean,
That's
if
just
he's healthy, he should be able to hold it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just crazy. Like the dude breaks his foot or whatever, something happens to
Yeah,
his foot, and
stress
they're like, "Oh,
fracture. Have you ever had a stress
stress fracture."
fracture? Yeah.
I've never had a stress
Yeah,
fracture,
so foot
but
injury, stress fracture.
anytime you have those lower extremities, your foot, like that's a big deal, especially for a corner. I played against Deion Sanders before he had his toe injury, and
Mm-hmm.
after he had his toe injury. He was a completely different player. So foot injuries, lower leg injuries, ankle injuries, knee injuries, hands, all this stuff. He was move and be agile.
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also have a lot of questions about the Eagles. Like, you guys are definitely more confident than I am. I still don't love their coach. There's a weird dynamic with Sirianni and Hurt.
Yeah.
Like, they don't like really get along, and they really started to play like they trended down quick last season. Like,
Yes,
they got destroyed in that playoff game. I think there's a little bit of hangover. I really do. Like, I like Barkley, but we've seen. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, and like Darian said, defensively, I've got some question marks about their linebacking unit.
Right.
Bradbury, I know Bradbury's not like the best corner in the league, but I mean, he's still a solid guy in their secondary. They give up a lot of
Yeah.
big plays.
Yeah, Slade's getting older. Slade's not the guy he used to be.
Yeah, he's solid, but
I mean, he's kind of in his prime. You know what I mean?
yeah, I'm not really buying this Cowboys demise. I think it was a very trendy thing to say this offseason. I'm still looking at their roster, and I'm like, this team has won a lot of games last 3 years. There's a whole other issue they have when it comes to playoff football, but we're talking regular season. I trust them in the regular season. I think they've gained my trust when Dak's healthy. McCarthy's won a lot of regular season games, so I'm going to go with Dallas. And then let's go to the West. Darian, I'll start with you. Who's winning the NFC West?
Niners. It wasn't really hard. I mean, the Rams who came on late last year, I think, they continue upward. I
Yeah.
think it's confidence enough to win the division, but yeah, I mean, talk about another team that's loaded everywhere. You got Brock Purdy, you got Debo, you got like you just signed extensions, so everything should be all good there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You still have kills, you still have on
Yeah.
defense.
Ton of talent. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fred
you got
Warner.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously news broke today that Trent Williams, they were stretching
Come
the
back.
game.
And then Talanoa Hufanga, I think he was hurt last year. Their safety.
Yeah.
They have so much talent.
Yeah,
Like Kyrie,
I know people get on Shanahan, whatever, in big games and, in certain moments. He's still a great coach. And so
especially in the regular season.
he's
Yeah.
one of the best offensive minds we've ever seen, too. So, yeah, I like the Niners. Like, this wasn't a hard pick.
Yeah. You too, Amani?
Yeah, I like the Niners because of all you said, but I grew up a Niner fan. I just don't like this team. Like, I don't like the coach. I don't like
Mm.
You don't like him.
the nepo baby coach. I don't like I don't like the you know the general manager going
John Lynch.
all of a sudden he's the general manager. I don't know how that happens.
I
And
wonder how.
I don't know. Like it's just weird. And then all of a sudden, like, they're doing really well and I get it. And I was a Niner fan growing up. Like I love the Niners, but I do not like this version of the Niners.
But
It
you
just
still like
doesn't
them to
seem
win the
like it
division?
matches San Francisco. Yeah, I think they're going to win the division, but I think the Rams are going to give them a run for their money
Yeah.
because the Rams find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Like the way the Rams were playing at the end of last year when everybody thought they were going to be nothing. And
Yeah, I didn't think
Stafford
they'd be
really,
good last year. No.
the Stafford really came on last year. And I think the Niners are going to win that division, but I think they're going to get two teams out of that division to go to the playoffs. And it's going to be the Rams and the Niners.
I'm gonna roll with you guys. I won't repeat too much of what you guys said. I also like the Niners. This is way too much talent. I have too many questions about the other teams. I think Arizona is going to surprisingly be a little better than people think. I really like that Marvin Harrison Jr. draft pick. I think he's going to be awesome. But I'm just throwing that out there as a team I think could give them some more trouble because they actually beat some pretty good teams down the stretch last year. They beat Philly. Pittsburgh wasn't great, but they were a playoff team. They beat them in Pittsburgh. So they actually when Kyler came back, when Kyler came back, they were pretty good. So okay, so you guys got all your division winners. Real quick, if you can just name all three at once. Darian, who you got as your wild cards in the AFC?
NFC or AFC?
AFC. We'll start with the AFC.
So I got Bengals, Ravens, Bills.
Okay, how about you, Amani?
Are the wild cards?
Yeah, do you have your wild cards for your AFC? Who do you think?
I got the Bengals. I'll say the Bengals, the Jets, and the Chargers. No, the Chargers. I got them winning, and the Chiefs.
I was about to say you got the Chiefs into the play. I'll be bold.
The Chiefs are in the Bengals. The Chiefs are going to be the wild card. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Buffalo as well. Josh Allen, I love him. I'm gonna go with Cincy. I think Cincy's low key gonna be like a Super Bowl. They're gonna be right there, like they always are when Joe Burrow is healthy. I got a surprise. Nobody's talked about this team. I think they won 8 or 9 games last season with a ton of injuries. I'm gonna go with Indy. I think Indy's the surprise team this year.
I like Indy.
Remember, they were in the playoff mix until week 17, week 18 last season with Gardner Minshew. I know there's some question marks with their quarterback, Anthony Richardson, but I saw a lot of upside. If he can protect the ball, they're gonna have a healthy Jonathan Taylor back. I really like Shane Steichen as a play caller. Shout out UNLV Rebel.
That's right.
I'm gonna roll with Indy. I think it's a surprise. That means I actually have Houston missing the playoffs. I misspoke earlier. I actually have Houston missing it. That's my bold take going into the season. So let's see. Indy,
we should have more guys, more teams that made the playoffs last year not making it because all the numbers and the statistics say that there's going to be a lot more new teams than we think.
And even every year in the podcast with me and Darian, we'll specifically talk about how bad certain teams are going to be. I'll never forget, Darian, 2 years ago, it was the Giants and the Seahawks. They were like Seahawks Geno, and then they both made the playoffs. So we just never know. But obviously, I don't have my Steelers making it, which hurts me to say. But I just think there's too many questions at with the offensive line. I didn't see enough. I know it's just preseason, but I wanted to see a little bit more at the quarterback position. Just a lot of fumbled snaps, and I'm not a big Justin Fields guy. I think he's just a little too raw, makes too many mistakes. So if he gets in, clearly if he gets in, that means the Steelers aren't off to a good start. So
Right.
I think the Steelers are 8-9-ish, 9-8. But I do think they miss it. I hope Darian's right though. And then what about your guys' NFC wildcard teams, Amani? I'll start with you.
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. It's gonna be a wild card team. I gotta go with the Niners, be a wild card team. And what else is the team? Oh, and the Lion. I can't see. I would say the Lions. Yeah, because
Okay.
I had Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay winning the division. Yep. How about you, D?
But then I'm having every team that went to the playoffs last year, so it's like,
Oh, is it? Wait. Oh, wait. You don't have any new teams.
I don't think I do. Wait, I got the Saints. I had the Saints. Yeah.
Oh, you did. You did. Which that's a bold pick.
I don't know why. Like, look at that. That's a bold. I'm stepping out on a limb there with Spencer Rattler.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, D. How about
I'm
you?
rethinking it, but I'm like, I don't even know why. I like Spencer Rattler, but dang, I don't know why I did that.
This is tough.
I don't David Allen is just.
Oh,
I don't trust him.
first coach to get fired this year, I think will be him.
You think so? All right.
I'm not a fan. No.
Yeah. But my teams, I got Packers. I know Alani doesn't like the Bears, but I like the Bears. I'm going Bears.
A lot of people
I have nothing against the Bears.
I'm sorry?
I don't have nothing against the Bears.
I think you were saying, like, you know, when we were talking about the NFC North, like, you know, obviously we're talking about the Lions and the Packers.
Yeah.
You know, we tell him, like, you know, it's kind of like, you know, he's a rookie quarterback. And we kind of say he hasn't gone through that really adversity because, you know, he's been winning his whole career and been kind of talented. So, but I just think everything they added, you know, Swift,
big receivers,
and Allen.
Yeah, they got a lot of talent for sure.
You know, one of the best players is Johnson. You know what I mean? Who's really good. Yeah, I think Taylor's going to be good. I think Taylor's going to be solid. I think he's going to live up to the hype. You know what I mean? So
I hope he does.
Yeah,
I hate to see players like underperform and like especially the first pick overall. I hate to see that. But
good. I agree.
I just feel like there's a way to do things, especially when you're a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you just got to come in and kind of be a little bit low key until people get to know you, because I know there's a lot of jealousy within those locker rooms.
Right.
And if you're coming across like you've hung the moon, you're going to get people that are going to hate you just because of that. And I just don't want that to happen to him. I feel like he's a talent that should be able to let his talent on the field speak for itself.
Right. And my last team is the Bucks.
So you like two teams out of the South.
I do. I like two teams out of the South. So I got the Cowboys missing the playoffs. I don't think
you got the boys not missing the playoffs.
I do. Yeah, because everything he says about all the mess all over the offseason, right?
They have it every offseason. Same every offseason.
This is different because they need to be using their quarterback like okay after this. Like, I know the question's coming later, but I really truly believe this is probably going to be it for them. Like, I really think this is it. Like, I don't know what Jerry Jones is doing. I have no faith in what he's doing, but, you know, he's doing it. So I just think this mess is different from the mess they have normally. Like, with the CD and, you know, Mike McCarthy being a lame duck coach. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a contract extension. I mean, he's pretty much coaching for his job, and a lot of people think he's not going to really get it regardless. You know what I mean? So he's probably gone. I don't agree with him. I just think there's too much distractions this offseason where they're going to miss it.
I just don't see that. I don't see it. I think they've proved, and any year people think the Cowboys will be bad. Darian, and you can vibe with me on this. They usually pretty good. So
my prediction, I know you kind of already said it. My prediction actually, I think Mike McCarthy is the first coach to get fired.
So you think they'll get off to a bad start?
I don't think it's Dennis Allen. I think Dennis Allen's awful. Don't get me wrong, he ain't awful. But I think Mike McCarthy will be the first coach fired. Yeah.
Is that a Jerry Jones thing though? Because did Gary get fired this season?
Was it Phillips? Who was the coach?
Oh, Wade Phillips.
Wade Phillips.
Because Garrett was end of the season, right?
End of the season, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He has more respect for McCarthy than that. I don't see it being I think if anything, worst case scenario is the end of the season. But
I think he's been so embarrassed by this team, how they're underperforming, especially in the playoffs, that it's very hard to thread that needle when you're like you go deep in the play, you go into the playoffs every year, and then you hit that wall.
Right.
It just makes it seem like anything during the season less than a win or less than a 10, 12, 14 win season
Mm-hmm.
is a loss. And that's so hard to do in the NFL, especially the amount of games that they've won over the last couple of years.
Right.
And then for that to not mean anything, for a coach to keep his job, that's just a tough way to. That's the margin for error for the Dallas Cowboys is if they don't go to the championship game or they don't go to the Super Bowl, their season. They don't go to if they don't win the championship game and go to the Super Bowl, it's a loss. And even if they go to the Super Bowl and don't win, it's a loss. Their season is you're gonna light a match to the season. It's just very tough situation for that organization to really get a win.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. And my 3 wild cards, I'm gonna go with Philly. I gotta say, I don't love them, but they do have a lot of talent. I'll go with Green Bay as well. Love what they're doing. I got another shocker. Darian, you're gonna be surprised by this one because I've spent a lot of time telling you how I don't like this team.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna roll with the Commanders, man.
Whoa!
See, they're gonna be improved.
I got a feeling. Whole new crew.
Improve their defense.
Yes, Dan Quinn's in there now.
Listen, I live in the DMV area. The Commanders fans are the most delusional fans you'll ever meet. They think they're going to win the Super Bowl every year.
Wait a minute, you have a Dallas Cowboy shirt on. You're talking about delusional fans.
Yes, I've been told.
Okay, no, I'm joking.
I've been saying to you all offseason, I don't know if they're a playoff team, but I can see them winning about 8 games, like 7, 8 games.
I think we're gonna get 3 teams out of the East. I think the East is gonna really rep this year. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it. Why not? You know?
You don't know what you just said. They already love it.
Hey, maybe it's because I live in Maryland now. I'm trying to,
That's what it is.
Trying to, be a good part of the community.
I went out there with the Saints. I'm rethinking my thoughts on the Saints now. Oh man, but anyway, you just gotta roll with it and see where it lands because I could end up look like a genius. You never know.
Yeah.
Right.
Now
that's what's great about the NFL. Like every team right now can legitimately say, "We have the shot. If this happens, but."
Yeah. Man. Now, what I'll do now is I'm just gonna, I want to be mindful of Amani's time. We appreciate you joining us once again. So we'll kind of quickly go through our awards predictions, but I'll just ring off my 3 here. Bold prediction this season. I think Anthony Richardson is an MVP candidate. That is my bold prediction. I think he's gonna have a really good year, and we're gonna be like, wow, this kid, this is gonna be their guy for a while. As far as who wins MVP, I've been thinking hard about this one. I'm gonna go with Mahomes. I'm not gonna get too cute with this one. I think they've done a good job of really putting some speedy guys around him. I think they're gonna just explode this year. So I'm gonna go with Mahomes. Defensive Player of the Year. I think Parsons is gonna get it. I think he's been right in that mix with TJ, Myles Garrett. I think he'll finally get that. What was the other award? I think we had one more, but.
Who's the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl matchup. I'm gonna go Cincy. I think Cincy wins it this year. I think they're gonna get in as a wild card, and they're just gonna find a way to navigate through that storm. And I'm gonna say that they beat San Fran. I think San Fran, unfortunately, is gonna get back once again and fall short once again. I got the Bengals over the Niners.
So real quick, I'm gonna go with my Super Bowl prediction. I'm gonna say the Chiefs make history in 3-2. They play the Lions. Super Bowl 42-35 Chiefs. It's gonna be a really exciting game. I was gonna go back and forth.
Who do they play? I'm sorry, did you mention
Lions? Lions break through and get into the Super Bowl.
Man,
this stuff for so many years. I think just being in the Super Bowl is gonna be big, but I think they fall short. I think Mahomes makes history in the Chiefs and they 3-peat. As far as I think my bold prediction, I think McCarthy gets fired during the season.
First coach to get fired.
Yeah, he's the first coach to get fired during the season. Yeah, I actually do. And as far as the awards, I think Parsons finally breaks through and gets that Defensive Player of the Year.
But if y'all are going to be bad, is he going to win it? Because you don't think you're going to be good.
You know, and listen, I mean, people have won awards on bad teams. You know what I mean? That make them,
it's harder though. It's harder.
It's an award. But I'm talking about MVP. I think the MVP of the NFL this year is going to be Jared Goff.
Okay.
Yeah.
If the Lions get to the Super Bowl, I mean, I know it's
it's not it's
nobody talks about Jared Goff. Like you said, Kwab, he's a vet. He's been in the Super Bowl. He's been in big playoff games. It just seems like nobody really believes in him, and then like he'll get you. Obviously, he hasn't won the big one yet, but yeah, man, I like him as a quarterback. I think he's very underrated, and I think this year it's gonna be different. I think people are gonna start talking about him more, and because I think the Lions, to me, when record-wise, I think they'll come out as the number one seed in the NFC.
Okay.
So I think because of that, he'll get the MVP award, and he'll finally get that recognition. But yeah, I like him as the MVP.
Amani?
my MVP is going to be Justin Herbert. I just feel like when you have Harbaugh with a talent like Herbert, I feel like he's going to get the most out of him. And nobody's ever disputed the fact that Herbert is one of the most talented players, and he just never had the coach that really allowed him to be in positions to do. Dennis Allen lost more games for the Chargers than any team than any other coach, and I couldn't understand why he kept his job for so long. But now you got Harbaugh, and I feel like he is going to. Dennis Allen, right?
Oh, Brandon Staley.
Brandon Staley, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Brandon
You're good,
Staley. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're both bad.
Yeah, Staley. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that when he's going to be put in a position, people are going to be able to see him play more, and I feel like that's going to be the Super Bowl representative from the AFC.
The Chargers.
The Chargers, yeah, I think the Chargers are going to be. It's got to be
That's
somebody
great.
different.
That'll be a hell of a job by Harbaugh. Wow.
Yeah, I think I don't know if they're going to win, but let me see. Well, then in the NFC, I have a feeling that the Eagles are going to go back.
Okay.
They got the tent with Saquon, with all the additions that they've had on offense. Even though they had like that weird losing streak last year, I feel like with Saquon, he's going to be able to keep the team together a little bit better. So my defensive player of the year is going to be Myles Garrett.
Back to back. Okay.
Yeah, I just think he's the most dominant guy that there is on defense. I think the Cleveland Browns are going to have a solid year. And my offensive player, my MVP.
Well, you got defensive player of the year. Oh yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got everything. Yeah.
Yeah, my MVP is definitely going to be Justin Herbert.
Oh, man, Justin Herbert. Well, me and Darian are going to the Steelers home opener in Week 3. They play the Chargers, so I hope the MVP does not play well in that game. But man, Amani, we don't want to take too much of your time, so we can go ahead and wrap things up. That'll do it for another 2024 NFL preview. You guys feeling good about your picks? I got all the same teams except for the Saints and the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints is one I'm really second guessing, but I've already put it down on paper.
Genius, or somebody's going to be like, never listen to that guy ever again.
Come on, I mean, all these predictions are like, you can make them logical all you want. You can put all. It's still just, you're just guessing. It's a glorified guess.
And I'll leave us with this. What? Just hear me out real quick. What if this is the year the Cowboys oh damn, they got to the Super Bowl? Like wow, they nobody expects it.
Well, if that's the case, Dak is definitely getting paid. Definitely more than $60 million. They're going to probably throw $70 million out if that happens.
As you should. Screw it. Just give it to them.
But you know what? I'm gonna make this bold prediction. Even if that happens, I still think they have another coach next year. I don't think McCarthy's still.
I don't know about that.
I don't know, man. I don't
think
want McCarthy anymore. I think he's still a lame coach.
Is it gonna be Dion?
Oh God! I think that just paid. If that happens, that will definitely get paid whenever he wants. But I think McCarthy's gone. I just do.
I don't see that.
I think that Jerry Jones is tough to deal with, and you
Yes.
can't be a coach. You can't be a coach that wants everything. You have to be a coach that's just going to coach and let Jerry Jones do his thing. And I think that's why Harbaugh wouldn't go there. There's all
Right.
these other coaches, these high-end coaches. Even Sean Payton wouldn't go there because he
Yeah.
knows that he's going to be looked over his shoulder, second guess, and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. It's just not a place for coaches to really succeed. That's why they get these like second-tier rung coaches that um, basically really need the job, and there's no other options for them. And that's why Mike McCarthy got that job.
Mm, yeah. Wow. Well, Amani, we appreciate you joining us. Yo, you're welcome back anytime, by the way.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, bro.
You know
Pleasure.
what I mean? Hey, listen, if the Saints are 7-0, we're gonna bring you back on. Like, yo, how about the Saints?
Yeah.
Definitely.
But nah, man, it's an
Oh
exciting
man,
part of
that
the year.
Saint one is tough. I'm already thinking that.
Hey, he's really second guessing that thing. Just roll with it. Just roll with it. You're good.
I'm
You're
gonna roll
good.
with it. I'm gonna roll with it. Oh, when the Saints go marching in.
But man, once again, it's been great seeing you, Darian, and doing this on a different type
Yeah,
of
man, this is so exciting, like
yeah.
we're getting introduced to the world of YouTube and to like people seeing our face. We were on, radio for so many years, you know what I mean? Nobody knew how we look, couldn't see our reaction. So this is great.
Mhm.
We're going to be giving you weekly content, and please, once we hit that, once we get on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button.
Yes, sir.
That's how we get our support. So we appreciate support. Just, when we get on YouTube, click that subscribe. You too, Amani. Click that subscribe.
Yeah, man. President Amani.
Depends on how many
Amani.
times you had me on. That's how they, I'll subscribe if I'm on.
Subscribers, so,
Amani made history today, man. First ever guest on the live the televised edition of Brothers Got Next.
That's
Hey,
right.
Darian, man, we'll see how week 1 goes, and we'll do it again next week.
All right, man.
All right, peace.
See you later, guys. All right.